Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into a really popular type of self-improvement content.
We are.
We've got a transcript from a YouTube video. It's called 9 Mistakes Smart Men Make with Women's Stoic Advice Every Man Needs to Hear.
Right.
And our goal isn't just to, list the 9 points. It's to strip away the jargon and really look at the behavioral science underneath.
Exactly. The source material, it's all framed around this idea of maximizing what they call high value.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that by getting rid of behaviors that, well, that signal insecurity. The promise it makes is that once you see these mistakes, you can't unsee them.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is to unpack these 9 behaviors pretty quickly. We've grouped them into 3 main themes to make it all make sense.
First, getting rid of that need for outside approval.
Then building your own internal stability. And finally, how to handle communication and boundaries. So let's just dive right in with the most obvious mistakes, the ones that scream dependency.
Yeah, that's the place to start. The first group of mistakes is all about seeking approval, which, it just instantly flips the power dynamic.
And that starts with mistake number 1. Over-explaining yourself.
A huge one.
We see this everywhere, not just in dating. You're late sending a text and suddenly you feel like you have to write a 3-paragraph essay explaining why.
That's the trap.
That's it. And the source is really clear on this. Smart men, they communicate, but they don't justify their existence.
I mean, if you think about it from a signaling theory perspective, constant explaining it smells like insecurity.
It's a signal of low status.
Exactly. Real confidence comes from an internal sense of control. You trust your own calls. When you over-explain, you're basically saying, please validate my actions for me.
And boom, you've just handed over all the power. There was a great line in the source, something like, real confidence doesn't beg to be understood.
That's it.
It's an interesting idea because over-explaining, it kills 2 things. It kills the mystery, which they say creates attraction.
And it kills clarity.
Yeah, because you bury the message in details. The advice is just so sharp. Say it once, say it with conviction, then move on.
And that idea moves us from explaining your actions to the actions themselves, which brings us to mistake number 2.
The whole chasing versus pursuing thing.
Yes. The source draws a really crucial line here that I think a lot of people miss.
Okay, so how do you define that difference? Because pursuing someone, that sounds like it takes effort, right?
It does, absolutely. But the difference is all about the intention and the reciprocity.
Okay.
Pursuit is effort with direction. You put in energy that matches the energy you're getting back. It's mutual. Chasing, on the other hand, is just desperate motion with no traction.
So like bending over backwards, double texting when she hasn't replied for hours.
You've got it. It's a constant reactive loop. You're basically operating out of fear.
So chasing is really just an investment imbalance.
Perfect way to put it.
If you keep pouring in way more than you're getting back, you're teaching her that 1, your time isn't valuable, and 2, that she doesn't have to work for your attention.
You are literally conditioning her to value you less. And the fix, according to this advice, is being able to fall back effortlessly when the energy is not mutual.
That move alone shows self-respect.
It confirms your self-worth isn't dependent on her.
And that sets up mistake number 6 so well, which is another flavor of this same problem. The competition game.
Oh, this is a classic. You see it in bars all the time.
Right. You're in a group, she's talking to someone else, laughing at their joke. What do?
The insecure response is to immediately try to one-up them. Tell a louder joke, make a bigger gesture. You try to steal the spotlight back.
Which is really a subconscious admission that you think you're not enough. You're admitting you see her attention as some prize you have to fight for.
Whereas the source says, real value commands presence. The truly confident person, the one who stays centered and unmoved when her attention wanders.
That's the one who shows he's in control of his own reality.
Exactly. His value is inherent. It's not based on a performance.
And that idea of staying internally stable no matter what's happening on the outside, that's a perfect bridge to our second theme.
The imperative of internal stability.
Yeah. If the first section was about not begging for validation, this one is about building a life that just doesn't need it in the first place.
This is probably the core of the whole philosophy. It starts with mistake number 5, neglecting your personal mission for a relationship.
I think we've all seen this happen. A guy meets someone, and suddenly, his goals, the gym, his business, everything just slows down.
His whole world starts to revolve around her.
And the source has a great metaphor for this. It calls your purpose oxygen.
It's a powerful one.
Yeah.
Because psychologically, what's happening is your self-efficacy, Your belief in your own ability to get things done is shrinking.
Even if she likes the attention at first.
She'll eventually lose respect for it. You can't
Mhm.
respect someone who doesn't respect their own path. And respect is, well, it's critical for attraction.
So the big takeaway is that purpose comes first. She should be a part of your life, not the center of it. You want to be the guy who's on a path, not the guy waiting on her text.
Which connects directly to mistake number 7, making her the only source of your happiness.
Hmm.
This is where things get really unstable.
The source has a brutal line for this. If she's the reason you're smiling, she'll eventually be the reason you're broken.
It sounds dramatic,
Yeah.
but it points to a huge psychological vulnerability.
It's that external locus of control again, isn't it?
100%.
Huh?
You're making another person your emotional regulation system, your peace, your joy. It's all on them.
Mm.
And that's an impossible burden for anyone to carry.
So the answer has to be doing the internal work first. Finding peace and discipline, joy, and just being alone with yourself.
And that's the paradox the source points out. The more you're okay on your own, the more attractive you become.
Neediness repels, wholeness attracts.
It all comes down to one question you have to ask yourself. Am I already good without her?
If the answer is yes, she adds to your happiness. That's a strong foundation.
But if the answer is no, then she is your happiness. And that's incredibly fragile.
Okay, so that brings us to mistake number 4, which is where this internal stability really gets put to the test.
The anti-therapist role.
Trying to fix her.
Yeah, and this one often comes from a good place. You want to help, you see her struggling with inconsistency or self-sabotage, and you jump in with solutions.
You try to logic her out of her feelings.
And in that moment, the source says you instantly become a parent figure.
And that kills attraction. Dead.
Gone. You're not a partner anymore. You're a project manager for her emotions.
So how do you support someone without falling into that trap?
The guidance is about offering empathy, holding space, as they say, but without taking ownership of her problems. You can listen, but you can't be the architect of her stability.
You have to stay rooted in your own frame so you don't get pulled into her storm.
Your job is to be the anchor, not the co-captain of her chaos.
That's a great distinction. Being supportive while protecting your own peace. And that leads us right into our last set of mistakes.
All about communication, tests, and boundaries.
We start with mistake number 3, which is about pacing. Specifically, revealing too much too soon. Oversharing.
This is classic honeymoon phase behavior.
You feel that intense connection after a couple of dates and suddenly you're just word vomiting your entire life story.
Your childhood, your exes, your deepest fears. It all comes out in the first week. It feels authentic, but the source says it's dangerous.
Why dangerous?
Because it creates what you could call emotional pressure. The source uses a great analogy. Intimacy is a dance, not a floodlight.
I like that.
You're forcing this intense vulnerability before any real trust has been built. It makes the other person uncomfortable.
Because they haven't earned that story yet.
Exactly. You're making them hold all this emotional weight before they've even decided if they want to be with you. Value is created when she has to lean in a bit to earn your story over time.
Okay, so from proactive sharing to the active defense, let's talk about mistake number 8, emotional tests.
This is a huge concept in this kind of material. When she pulls back or asks you a tough question about your ambition, or maybe even flirts with someone else in front of you.
And the source says these aren't always, like, malicious things.
Not always. Often they're subconscious. She needs to know if you're really as strong and grounded as you seem. Can you handle her storms?
It's a stress test.
It is.
Yeah.
And if you get triggered, if you get defensive or angry or needy, you've failed the test. You've just shown her you're not stable.
She wants to see if her emotional waves can move your mountain.
Precisely. And the correct response is non-reactivity. The advice is to observe, they breathe, they respond only when necessary and always with control.
So the goal isn't to win the argument.
No. The goal is just to show that your inner peace isn't affected by her temporary emotional state. You stay calm, you pass the test, you remain the anchor.
Which brings us, finally, to the last mistake, number 9. This is the ultimate boundary-setting move. Apologizing for your standards.
Right. And standards here mean your non-negotiables. Loyalty, respect, a partner who wants to grow, that sort of thing.
The source says real men hold the line on these things. They demand alignment, not perfection.
Yeah, but this is a tricky one. I mean, how do you know if you're holding a healthy boundary versus just having rigid, impossible expectations?
That's a good question.
I think the difference is in the communication and being unattached to the outcome. Healthy standards are stated calmly. They aren't demands that she change. They're just prerequisites for being in your life.
So you're not trying to control her.
No. You're just clear about what you require, and if that alignment isn't there, you're prepared to walk away peacefully.
And if she repeatedly violates that standard, the advice is to leave calmly, clearly, without resentment.
Because the final principle that ties all 9 of these points together is that your peace is sacred. It's the ultimate expression of self-worth.
Wow. Okay, so that was a really focused deep dive.
It was. And if you pull it all together, the big picture is, it's incredibly clear. This entire system is about building and maintaining your own internal self-regulation.
And a sense of purpose that has nothing to do with her or anyone else.
It's completely independent of external validation.
So the goal is never to control her reaction. It's only to control your own frame, your own path. And that independence, the source argues, is what's truly and lastingly attractive.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on. We learned that mystery is important for attraction in mistake 3, and that being emotionally whole is key in mistake 7.
Right.
So here's the question. If a man is truly whole and self-sufficient, and that's what makes him attractive, what's the balance? How do you maintain that necessary personal mystery while also allowing the vulnerability you need to actually share a life with someone?
How do you keep the mountain stable while also inviting someone to build a home on it?
Something for you to ponder.